Okay, on to our third card. This one is our spinner card. And this one's fun because it has an interactive element on it that does two things. First, it spins in a circle, and second, it travels along a track that you make for it. In this case, on our card, if you're using our kit, a circle. So you could definitely make this card for any occasion. We made it for the Christmas holiday season, obviously, but you could make it for birthday or Valentine's Day or graduation, whatever you're looking for. With this winter one, we've done a whole snow theme on it, so the embellishment itself is a snowflake, and then we've used an artificial snow along the bottom to just kind of give it some more texture and a little bit more pop. Okay, so for this one, you want to start out with your strip of watercolor paper. I use watercolor paper because you're going to put a bit of adhesive on it and you don't want it to bubble. So the watercolor paper holds up better to that. Go ahead and rip it so it has like a fun, kind of more natural looking edge. You can rip this by hand, or if you've got a tool to help you rip it in a certain way, that's fine too. I used a Fisker's ripper for that. And then cover the front side of it in a good layer of liquid adhesive. Just kind of scribble it on there and then use your finger or a glue spreader to really spread it out and make sure that every little bit of the front of that watercolor paper is covered in liquid adhesive. If it doesn't have a generous amount of adhesive, it's not going to hold all the little bits of plastic fake snow that we want it to. So once you've got it covered in glue, go ahead and cut open your little baggie of fake snow. You could also use glitter for this part, or some kind of, maybe like a green that would look like grass if you're making this card for another occasion. But you just want to spread the element all over there and just kind of tap it into the glue so that it stays in place, and then tap off the extra and set it aside to dry. We'll come back to that piece at the end. This card is an A2 size card, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You want to decorate the cover of it with a printed piece of cardstock or paper that's just slightly smaller than that, 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Will leave you a nice little border around the edges there. Next, you want to put a solid piece on top of that printed piece. We cut a 3-inch circle die out of it. You could adapt it to a different size depending on your project. And then you want to adhere it to the printed paper with foam adhesive, but you want to be really careful to not put the foam adhesive near the opening. A little strip at the bottom and a tiny bit in each of the top corners will be plenty adequate for this project. You want to make sure that the penny, or if you use a button, is fine too. The item that your embellishment sits on and spins, you want to make sure that it has enough clearance and doesn't get hung up on that adhesive. Once you have the adhesive on there, go ahead and layer it onto the front of your card. Then you're going to want to take some kind of sentiment to put in the middle, and you want it to be on the same shape that your die cut is cut from that solid piece on the cover of your card. So for this one, we have a 3-inch opening, and then the element that we're using in the center is a 2 5/8 inch circle. To adhere your sentiment in the center, make sure you use foam adhesive and only put it in the very center of your circle. This will make sure that the penny or the button doesn't get hung up as it rotates around the circle in the track. Go ahead and add it to the front of your card and make sure that you get it perfectly centered in that already existing opening. Once you have it stuck on there, you can go ahead and add your penny. You want to actually slide it between the printed and solid paper on the front of your card and slide it down so the center of the penny is in that track. Then you're going to add a very small little piece of adhesive to it, small enough so that it can spin and travel along the track without getting caught. If you have a hard time getting it to stick as well as you want it to, you might need to add a small bit of that red tape between the foam adhesive and the element that you're adding. Now your element should manually spin and travel along the track with ease. All that's left is to add on that watercolor paper strip that we did at the beginning. It should be dry or close to it by now. Just go ahead and add a little adhesive on the back of that and layer it on the front of the card down at the very bottom of that solid top layer of paper.